Hey, Cory, how are you doing today?
Good.
So I just want to talk a little today about kind of what sets TreeNewal apart from other tree companies. I feel like we have a different approach, and there are some things that we do that are unique. So in your experience, what was it that kind of brought you to TreeNewal?
Well, what brought me over here was just the the small company feel of owner operator, mom and pop kind of business, to where for one, helping grow a company from fairly new to a larger, hopefully one of the most prestigious in the Metroplex, the DFW area, and just that kind of small company feel to it, to where if there's a question or if there's a problem, I can get a hold of the ownership group or management, and we can work through things together.
Right. There's a different approach that we have with customer service compared to a lot of other companies. And how would you describe the customer service at TreeNewal and in contrast to some of these other businesses?
So we definitely, with TreeNewal, we definitely focus on the customer service side a lot more than some of the other companies that I've been with throughout my career. We strive for ultimate customer satisfaction, being from the first time they call in or on the website all the way through our appointments, and then following up with the production or plant healthcare team.
So just a good experience start to finish.
Right. Because, we try and distinguish ourselves that there's a lot of tree companies out there, but they focus on mainly just the tree work part, not the whole customer experience. And I feel that's where we excel at TreeNewal.
So what about educating our customers? Is that an important part of the customer and business relationship?
So we definitely focus on customer education and just overall knowledge base, because, like I said, there's a lot of tree companies out there, but they might just tell you, well, here's what it costs to prune your tree, not here's the objectives or here's the why or maybe why not, and to have the knowledge to back up the why or why not. And that way they're getting the full experience, not just their tree pruned or removed or anything. They're learning the why behind that.
So TreeNewal has the credentials, the experience, and the knowledge to be able to help them understand what's going on with their trees so they can make the best decision for themselves.
Absolutely. All of our arborists are ISA Certified Arborist. We have oak wilt qualifications, tree risk assessment qualifications. You're a board certified master arborist. So we focus on educating ourselves. That way it translates to our customers. And not only are they getting their trees serviced, but they're also learning the why behind that.
Right. So they can feel good about the decision that they make.
Absolutely.
So what resources do we have out there that a customer might be able to utilize for doing some education on their own?
So we have a very extensive website at TreeNewal.com. There's multiple tabs on there, from how to properly plant your trees, different watering techniques and mindsets, plant selection, and then, of course, the general tree services, the pruning, the removals, cabling, and then our plant healthcare is a big aspect of what we do at TreeNewal, versus a lot of other companies. They just focus on the service or the production side of things.
Right, but that's not taking a holistic, whole view of the health of the tree into account.
Correct, because, anybody can go get a chainsaw or a pole pruner from a hardware store and cut a tree limb. But the why behind it, or the consequence of that, or the overall plant health is a big aspect of what we do at TreeNewal.
Right. So some people might be able to regurgitate what they've heard others say, but if the site conditions change, they may not be able to adapt to that condition because maybe they don't have a true understanding of the whole situation, but rather just a snapshot idea.
Right. After doing this for as long as you and I have, we learned that just because it's a live oak doesn't mean we prune every live oak the same way. Maybe Mrs. Smith's live oak is treated slightly different than Mrs. Jones' live oak. And the why behind that is important, not just because.
Right. We have to kind of understand what the customer's objective is.
Right, absolutely.
And it varies from customer to customer. They might have the same species as their neighbor, but have a totally different goal for that tree.
And not only customer to customer, but maybe year to year with that certain customer, that maybe the strategy or techniques we used last year might not be applicable to this year or even 6 months from now.
Right. And also, I would say that understanding the tree's function in the landscape is important. Some trees are for screening, some trees are for aesthetics, some trees are for shade. Right? There can be a lot of different objectives of the tree, and if we don't understand what that objective is, it makes it hard to manage appropriately.
Right. And when I was relatively new in the tree business, one of the points from a conference or a training that stuck with me the longest was any plant out of place can be considered a weed. Well, you take a live oak or a red oak in the middle of a front yard, that's a great tree. You put that same tree inches from your house or let it grow up volunteer, and that same exact tree is a weed.
Yes, definitely. Any plant growing where it doesn't belong
Right.
is a weed, and that can include a tree.
Unfortunately, sometimes.
Yes. So, Cory, what are some of the ways that you've approached educating your customers when you're walking their property with them?
Well, for us as arborists, when you and I are sitting here talking, it's really easy to put on our tree nerd hats and get very technical with some of the scientific stuff, and it might just be way too detailed for the average customer. So I feel where we excel is being able to translate technical industry information into more layman's terms and explain it fairly simply to the customer on why we're doing this particular thing or not, or why we're recommending this practice or not, without getting into the super detail unless they want to go down that kind of rabbit hole. But most of the time their eyes kind of glaze over when you start getting into the technicalities of it.
Right.
So I feel where we excel at is being able to translate that technical industry jargon into what Mrs. Smith or Miss Jones may understand, and the why we're recommending what we are.
Right. Sometimes all it takes is a simple analogy to help connect those dots, and then the light bulb goes off. They understand the point you're trying to get across in a way that makes sense to them.
Yeah, and it can be as simple as just a laser pointer on, well, here's where I would cut this limb, and here's why, not just take this limb off.
Right.
Because anybody can take a limb off.
Being able to show the customer on the tree or in person, hey, this is an exit hole from a wood-boring insect, or you see this fungal conch, here's what this means. Or just being able to illustrate exactly how you intend to approach the pruning of the tree, especially with structural pruning jobs, can really be beneficial to the customer's understanding.
Right. And I think the most important aspect is trying to translate that, I call it our tree nerd knowledge, into something that makes sense to them. And they're like, oh, that's why, not just, oh, Cory said to cut this limb. So Wes, how does TreeNewal's mission and overall mindset dictate how we approach things?
So at TreeNewal, we're really committed to honest, ethical, scientific tree work. We're going to treat all of our customers and all of our employees with the utmost respect at all times. It's very important to the owners that happen with every customer. We want them to have a great experience start to finish. We want to earn their trust. We want them to feel like they don't need to call anybody else because these guys really are taking care of me. They know what we're doing, and they've got my best interests in mind, which I assure you we do. We're also committed to educating our customers throughout the process. That's why we've spent so much time and energy training with our employees, all of our office staff. They come out onto conferences and educational opportunities with us. We want to be a well-rounded customer service, tree pruning, fertilizing, treating machine that is going to be able to tackle any of your tree needs. Anything from being an inventory on a large project to helping you navigate a construction site with city regulations to making Mrs. McGillicuddy's little holly tree behind her pool look beautiful in the spring. TreeNewal is dedicated to its customers, its employees, and a great experience start to finish.
So, Wes, where do you see TreeNewal in the future?
So I see a lot of growth with TreeNewal. There's so much potential in this industry because there's a lot of tree work that's what I would call substandard. And as we educate our customers and they know more and more about the right way to do things and why it's beneficial to them, especially with long-term cost reduction, I think they're going to understand the value and the benefit. And that's going to allow TreeNewal to grow. We want to be the go-to company in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and the surrounding areas. We service the whole Metroplex. And if you've got a tree problem, it's not too big or too small for us. Come to us and we'll help you solve it.
And where would we find more information on how to reach out to TreeNewal?
Come see us at our website, www.TreeNewal.com. I think you'll find a lot of valuable information there that'll give you the confidence to go ahead and make that call. So I hope that these podcasts have been not only educational but entertaining for everybody out there. If you're interested in learning more about what services we can offer, please just give us a call. We have a lot of certified arborists here that are ready to talk to you and help you solve your problems. So please reach out, and we'd love to meet you.